Hi, everybody. It's time for coffee chat.
Hey, Cindy, how are you
Hi,
doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm excited about what we're talking about today, the butterfly effect, because
Hmm.
it's all about you don't know and we don't know that how one action or one thing that you said to somebody could make a gigantic difference in their life and even transform their lives. We've heard this in our retreats that we do, that somebody heard one little thing that, the lights all went off. I remember when I was insecure about doing all my piano CDs that I did in Nashville. Wayne Dyer said, "There's something you do that nobody else does it the way you do it." That's all I
Really?
needed to hear it. That's all I needed to hear. So, with that in mind, I've got a couple of short stories that I want to share with you, and then I want to dive into how we don't realize sometimes an act of
I think it's called like the butterfly effect, like a butterfly flaps its wings in Argentina and something happens in Canada or whatever.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly. So, the first thing is a story that I read in one of the Chicken Soup for the Soul, and it
Hmm.
was a boy who was in high school and very, very intelligent. He was being bullied horribly. He was kind of the nerd because he was so intelligent. And he had decided that he was going to commit suicide.
Mm.
And so he didn't want his parents to have to come down to the school and clear out his locker. So he decided to clear out his locker himself.
Mm.
And as he was going home, he was being bullied and dropped all the books. And this other kid came and picked up the books and said, "Let me help you. And then I'll take these home. I'll carry these home for you." And uh, so fast forward to graduation, he was the valedictorian, and he told the story of how he was planning his suicide, and this kid helped him with his books, and they became friends.
Mm.
Basically, saved his life just from a simple gesture of helping him carry his books home.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I wrote the song Jose Cuervo,
Hmm.
and many times I hear, "Oh, that was our fraternity song. Oh, my sister and I used to sing that song all the time when we go have, I hear all kinds of stories. But one story that really touched my heart, because you don't know,
Mm.
and it was from me writing this little silly song about drinking too much tequila. There was a man named Joe, and he was listening to a radio station, and I actually heard the story from the DJ herself up in Michigan. And it was a country music station. And he called one Saturday and he said, "Can you play Jose Cuervo? Because my son, he loves that song. He does a little routine to it. He likes to dance to it." And she said, "Well, how old is your son?" And he said, "He's 7 years old."
Oh my word.
But he loves the song and sings it. And can you just play it for little Joe? So she did. So the next Saturday he called and he said, "Please play Jose Cuervo." This is in a time when DJs were personal with their audience. It was a
Oh yeah.
wonderful time. And so she would get these little conversations with him. "Oh, how is little Joe?" That kind of thing. Well, in the conversations, she learned that his wife had died. Little Joe's mother had died. But boy, that song really makes him happy. So it's fixed the sadness in our life is when he hears Jose Cuervo. So this would go on for many weeks, and then all of a sudden, no more Joe. Joe wasn't calling anymore, and several weeks had gone by, and it was about three or four Saturdays had gone by, and finally, one day, Joe calls up and says, "Can you play Jose Cuervo for little Joe?" And she says, "Joe, where have you been?" He said, "Oh, things haven't turned out, aren't too good right now. But boy, that song sure makes him happy." She said, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Well, our house burned down."
Oh my word.
So people, I call this the silent majority. People who had listened to this radio station sent money to the radio station.
Yeah.
Food, clothes, furniture. All these people, because little Joe liked to dance to Jose Cuervo.
Boy, that is so touching. And
I can't ever tell the story with that.
I know, it makes me cry. I was like, oh my gosh.
But you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know what little thing. I wrote a silly little song. Took me 10 minutes to write it. First song I ever wrote. And it went on the radio, blah, 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 blah. And it gets to this little child in Michigan.
He lost his mom and then lost his home.
Mom and lost their home. But boy, that song sure makes him happy. It makes him want to dance. But all those people that listened to the DJs, I wish that we could do that again right now, where you can do it on XM radio a little bit. But
yeah.
Those were the days when DJs reached out to their audience, and because you don't know who's listening.
Well, I worked in major market broadcast. I worked for a classic rock station in Dallas, and then they also had a sister station that was big band. And so we met a lot of the performers and stuff like that. And I don't have a story about this. I'm just saying there was, at that time, there was a lot of connectivity. People could call in and talk to us, and people could show up at dances and all of that. And, we took a group of people from Dallas down to Waco, Waxahachie, that was it, because they had a big Christmas display. So people signed up and they got on the bus, and we did little trivia stuff, and we passed out T-shirts and hats and, all kinds of stuff. And, those were really fun days. And I don't know that it doesn't happen, but I don't think it happens much. But again, going back to, you don't know what you're saying or doing that's lifting someone up or affecting them. It is the butterfly effect. We don't see it happening over here, but it has a result over here. And I just love that.
Exactly. Because you don't know what's going on in somebody's life. And there's so many insecurities that are out there. That's one thing that we do with Bnow, is we encourage women to understand their value and to let down the insecurities. Because my son Jordan has a wonderful saying. He says, all attacks come from a place of insecurity. Mm-hmm. So anybody who puts somebody down or that type of thing, insults somebody or one-on-one, it's a place of insecurity that they do that. Because people who love themselves and understand what kind of value that they have, they don't project that to people.
There is a book, and then of course it's actually a course. It's called A Course in Miracles. Oh, yeah. And one of the statements in this is that everything is either love or a cry for love. Think about that. It's either love or a cry for love. So what is the proper response? Love.
Just love.
Period.
Yeah.
Period.
So
you get into the judgment and the separation. And honest to God, I mean, we've talked about this, Cindy, and I believe there is a huge push to separate people, but we won't be separated. We love one another. And just because I disagree with something about someone or what they think or whatever, what they do, doesn't mean I hate them. It's just okay, you do you and I'll do me. And we love each other. So, and that is the effect. That is the butterfly effect.
That is. So be kind. Be kind to people. You never know. And when you see, I saw somebody in Walmart the other day who just completely dropped all kinds of stuff all over the place.
Oh.
I went and helped her pick it up.
Yes.
Just wrestling with a toddler, and she was embarrassed.
Yeah, of
And
course.
so that's another thing. When people are embarrassed about something, it's very easy to set them at ease and say, "Oh, I've done that a million times," something like that.
It's like, oh yeah, I drop stuff all the time. Then you're in it with it. There's no judgment. There's no separation. I've talked about this in a couple of coffee chats ago. I was just talking about seeing children crying in grocery stores. They're tired, or the parent is irritated or scared that she doesn't have enough money to pay for that. I mean, you don't know what's going on. And so I just surround both of them with love, and I love on them, and I don't touch them, but I just send out this love and this understanding and saying, look, I've been there. I'm so glad I don't have a child that age anymore, but you're doing great. You're just doing great.
Exactly.
People, that's all they need to hear.
It's funny that you would say that, because I was thinking about that one day. If who in your family, we had 6 kids, and we lived on the ranch, and you're feeding them, you're cleaning them, you're doing laundry, you're cooking, you're blah 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 blah, right? Who comes in and say, "Wow, Mom, look how clean the kitchen is. Wow, Mom, look at how clean the floor is." Husbands don't do that either. Wow, look at how nice everything. Wow, cooking, I would get a lot of compliments, but you know what I'm
You
saying.
just everyday stuff. Just one little word, just like,
one little thank you.
This house smells so good. Thank you for doing it. Right. Yeah. I
Anything.
will say this, when my son was young, and I was a single parent, Cindy, and I did cook meals, but I'm not a big sweets eater. And so, I didn't cook, I didn't bake and all of that. And one time, I think it was like, maybe it was my son's birthday or something, but I went and bought a birthday cake. And he looked up with love in his eyes and he said, "Gee, Mom, you sure know how to buy good cake." And I said, "It's a talent. It's a talent."
Oh, gosh.
But I never forgot that. Of all the things that, he's told me, there are just certain things, and that's this effect thing. Somebody who just sincerely appreciates us.
Exactly.
And so when we can make a sincere compliment to somebody.
And you can always find something nice to say to anybody. Make it a game. Make it a game. Choose perfect stranger. Where'd you get those shoes? You have a beautiful smile. Whatever. There's always something you can find.
And accept it with graciousness. If somebody says, "Oh, I love that purse," or, "Your hair looks so," or whatever, don't blow it off, because what you're saying, if you blow it off, is you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, a compliment is a gift.
It is.
And you need to give the person who's giving the opportunity to give. And to do that, you need to receive with grace.
That's exactly it.
It makes people feel good.
So as we wrap this up, I just want to remind people to go to our website.
Right.
We were talking about this. Cindy is great about keeping things updated for us. Beautifulnetworkofwomen.com. And the kinds of things that you put on there are our coffee chats. You put on upcoming events and let people know what's going on with us and how to get in touch with us, right?
Right. That's what I do.
Okay. All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, please share with this. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just share, let us know. You can always comment, and we watch the comments. So, we'd be happy to return a comment to you. But thank you. I'll talk to you soon, Cindy. Mwah. Love you.
Love you back.
Okay. Bye-bye.